Using cheat codes on the Game Boy Color originally meant that you needed some additional hardware, such as a Game Shark connected to your system. There is a way that you can input these codes though while emulating using the Game Boy Color emulator SameBoy, and today I want to show you ways in which you can do it. First up, these cheats can be found on various websites. A few that I would recommend is GameGenie.com, which lists the games alphabetically, so you will need to scroll through. Another site is gamehacking.org, where you can search for the game and then select the version of the game for the platform you're playing on, in this case the Game Boy Color. Here you'll find a number of codes that you're able to import into SameBoy. Also, if the game is part of a series, there is normally websites that are dedicated to those games. Just so you're aware, sometimes codes will begin with an equals or a $sign. If they do, it means that the code probably won't work because these symbols can't be inputted into SameBoy, so you might need to find codes elsewhere. Some codes also contain 2 X's. There will be an information box nearby on the website that will tell you what you need to replace these X's with. This will be a combination of numbers and letters, and by replacing them within the code will give you an item or a character permanently unlocked. I'll explain a little bit more about this later in the video. For basic codes, the example we're going to use is in Pokemon Blue. The website we'll be using for this is cypokes.com. At this point, if you haven't already, load up the SameBoy Emulator and the game that you wish to activate cheats in. With the game running, press Escape on your PC keyboard and then select Cheats. You can select New Cheat, but you will need to know the code in game and the item's actual value to be able to do it. So the easier way is to just press Import Cheat. You could try copying and pasting the code from the website into SameBoy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what you can do is type the code in manually. So in this instance, I'm playing Pokemon Blue and I want to unlock all 8 of the badges from the very start of the game. As you can see, I don't have any badges to begin with. So I'll go onto the website I mentioned earlier, scroll down to the bottom, and there's a code here for unlocking all 8 badges. I'll then type this code into SameBoy. Once you've input the code, just press enter on the keyboard, then where it says imported cheat, press enter again, and this will give you the opportunity to rename the cheat so you know what the cheat actually does. Again, when you're done, just press enter to return back to the cheats menu. Underneath the cheat's name, you'll see the word enable. Make sure that this box is ticked, otherwise the cheat won't work. Then just press back at the bottom of the menu or escape on the keyboard. Back in the main cheats menu, what you also need to do here is tick the box that says enable cheats. So while you will have enabled the cheat when you imported it, you also need to tick this box as well. Both need to be ticked in order for the cheat to work. Once that's done, just press escape and go back to your game. If we go into the in-game menu, you can now see that all 8 badges are now unlocked, so I know that this cheat is working. As mentioned earlier, some of the codes have 2 X's. You need to replace these X's with various numbers or letters to give you certain items in game. So for this, we're going to give Squirtle the Surf ability from the beginning of the game. In my abilities list, I only have 2, as Squirtle hasn't learned any new moves yet. That's absolutely fine. Whether the slot is used or not, we're going to go to the Cypokes website again, and we can see the code for the 3rd ability, which in our example we know is blank. It has 2 X's in it, so by pressing on the attacks list, a menu on the right hand side then appears with what you'll replace the 2 X's with. So if we scroll through and we find Surf, we can see that this is 39. So the code in this instance would be 013975D1. This will be different for the other 3 slots. This principle will be the same for the other slots. You'd be keeping the code the same, but just changing whatever you want to put in the X's based on the information given in the table. By entering this code into the cheats menu on SameBoy and giving it a name, In this example, we're going to call it surfability. This is so we know what it is when we enable the cheat. You'll now see that when I go back into the game, I have a Squirtle, but with the surfability. Just remember though, some codes work and some codes don't, so it might be a little bit of trial and error to get them to actually work. So that was just some examples on how to get cheat codes to work on SameBoy, the Game Boy Color emulator. If this video was useful to you, leave it a like, and if you want to learn more about emulating on this or other systems, check out some of the other videos on the channel covering plenty of games from different eras.